Hey everybody, my name is Timo and I'm so happy that you're here for this video today. I want to take you through a really cool thing that I do to create custom buttons in Tableau. Now, I'm not talking about just the standard buttons that we can do in dashboarding when we create a dashboard and we just drag out, say, a button object. No, we're talking about actually going a step further, and we're going to build this at the worksheet level. All right, so all you need to do is have a copy of Tableau, and I want you to go to the data connection and set yourself up with a connection to Sample Superstore. All right, so let's do that first, and we'll get into today's video. All right, now that we're back here in our actual workbook and you are connected to the Sample Superstore, we can start getting right into how to make these buttons. All right, so we need to find something that we want to make a button for. So what I want you to do is go ahead and drag region out, and I want you to put it onto rows. All right, so we're dragging region and we're putting it on rows, and that's going to build the start of our text table. Now, this is something that some of you guys may have seen before and some of you may have not seen this before. We want to actually double up because we need to use the actual table here to be able to operate this the way we want it to. But for this, I want you to actually bring out another instance of region. So go ahead and find your region inside of your data pane, or use a control-click drag and bring it out, and I want you to put that new instance of region onto text. Now, this could be interesting. You might be like, what are you doing here, Timo? But what I want you to do is something that you can't get rid of those ABCs unless you actually use the ABCs. So if you were to right-click on them when they had an ABC, there's no way to really hide those. But what I'm showing you here is actually a way that we can sort of create the same look and feel without using the ABCs. So we have to be able to right-click on the left side, the header for this table, and we can actually turn off the header, and the table's now going to list the regions from the table. It's no longer showing the header, and it's only showing one use case of each of those regions. All right, so I hope you're getting excited because you might start seeing where this is going now. We need to go ahead and just start formatting our buttons. So find where your arrow on the just edge of the table becomes two back and forth arrows, and that's going to let you actually stretch this table out. Some other formatting we might want to do can be done by right-clicking in the table and selecting Format from the menu, and you'll see you get your format options here on the side. So we might want to do some things like changing the format of the actual font. I like to go with like a bold Tableau and then maybe boost this up to about 14. We might want to also go in and change the actual alignment to center. Now we're starting to look like a good button. Maybe this is a little too wide, so I'll bring it down a bit. And then the other thing is to decide how we want to color it and make it look. For me, with these buttons, I don't think I want any row banding, but I do think that I want to go ahead and have some borders. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in a border, and we'll call it like a nice bold, maybe a dark gray border for these different areas here. All right, so this could be a nice addition to just help, make each of those buttons breathe, give them some space to stand on their own. Okay, so this is it. We've got a lot of the basic structure from our format menu taken care of. And then a couple last things that jump out at me is when I hover over these, my tooltip shows and this title's here. So I'll right click on the title and I'll hide title from the options. And for hiding our tooltip, you just click on the tooltip marks card, and you can actually deselect the show tooltips option, and that'll take away the tooltip from you. Now with this, we are ready to use these buttons. Let's double click on a button on sheet 1, and let's rename it buttons. Now we need something for these buttons to interact with, so let's quickly go down and click on a new worksheet, and I want you to just double click on state, and that's going to make a map, and let's bring our sales out and put it on color. It's going to give us a nice filled map to work with. We'll double click on sheet 2 and we'll call this maps. And we want to make a dashboard now. So I said that this isn't our normal dashboard button, and that's because we're using what's called a dashboard action. So go ahead and in your new dashboard, drag out buttons and drag out maps. And I'm going to clean mine up and just get this legend out of here because it's not necessary. And I'm going to right click on my titles and I'm going to hide titles just to clean things up a bit. So let's move on. Let's go ahead and turn on these buttons. Now you may have used this before. It's a used as filter, and it does go ahead and turn on a dashboard action, which is called filter 1 generated. If you go to dashboard in the menus and go down to dashboard actions, you can actually see the action in motion. So what is happening? When we go ahead and edit it, it says we want to look at a source sheet, and anything I do on that source sheet is going to then filter, because when we just use this little funnel, it's filtering for us, and it's going to filter anything on the other sheets. So we want to go ahead and make sure that ours is selected so that the buttons target the maps. Now this is it. When we click on one of these segments that was initially a text table, watch what happens. My map is going to fill into that space. And then if I switch to south or east, it's just making this dynamic map, and it's all based on this amazing filtering action mixed with this little trick on how to make the buttons from a text table. So that's it, guys. Here in less than 10 minutes, I hope I've taught you something really cool. I love using this in my dashboards, and you can see it in some of my work on my Tableau Public. Thanks, everybody. Keep your data clean.